40 episodes, one video. Why are you asking? Since 1999 until now, SpongeBob has been with us and was the childhood of many, if not all of us growing up. And this video is a way for me to show my appreciation for the series, so bring your double triple boss in the lunch because we're ready, Captain. The first real content that the show has produced is the pilot that later on became the first episode named Help Wanted. The idea for the show came from a comic that Steven Hillenberg created when he was a marine biologist, but after he joined Nick and works on another show, he decided to make his own based on the comics. So he expanded the idea, which brought life to SpongeBob and many other characters that we know and love today, who lead to the pilot. It started off just like the original. We get a look at Bikini Bottom and SpongeBob daily routine, but today is special cause he's getting ready to apply his first job. So SpongeBob goes outside and get ready right into the old opening of the show.
SpongeBob SquarePants!
Who, I'm not gonna lie, is kinda better. So SpongeBob is here, but he's too scared to get inside. But Patrick, who was there this whole time, gave him the pep talk of his life, which gave him the courage to get in. What a nice guy, I'm sure he will never change. Inside he make an impressive bad impression, and with the help of Squidward, ready to seal the deal, by telling him to find a non-existent spatula, and just like that, he goes. But at the same time, other people arrive. As the place falls into chaos, Crab and Squid swim to safety and ready to accept their fate, but when all seems lost, SpongeBob arrives with the non-existent spatula and start cooking, with a song that I wish you could hear. And one montage later, everybody leaves and SpongeBob is hired. Be surprised that the pilot and the first episode is almost the exact same, except the start and the ending, where they changed the name from SpongeBob to SpongeBob due to copyright issues. But the episodes still have a few differences from the rest of the season, like the color of Mr. Krabs' eye, the direction that SpongeBob takes to the Krusty Krabs, and even when Squid walks, the sound is different. In appearance, it's look like the rest of the first season, but pilot or not, it's a classic, has a simple and catchy story, and easily one of the best. Just before the next episode begins, there is a mini episode without talking called Leaf Blower, where SpongeBob using a leaf blower because of Squidward, which is kinda his fault. Oh, and I forgot to mention it in the beginning, but I'm going to count all the memes that the series has created over the years, and right now we have 7, which is kinda a lot for 1.5 episodes. The second episode is Tea at a Tritum, where we are SpongeBob introduced for the first time to Sandy. The episode starts with SpongeBob chilling in the jellyfish field until a screaming voice and see a squirrel wrestling with a clam, and as the main character, he can't let her get eaten, so he runs to help and get eaten himself. So she saves him and they have a little talk. The name is Sandy and they both seems to like each other, so she invited him over for cookies at her house. But there is a problem. She needs air to survive and he has no idea what it is, so he runs to ask his loyal friend Patrick, who misunderstood the situation, and tell him to go for it and to remember, when in doubt, pinky out. So he goes inside and she greets him in her underwear. Inside he understands the seriousness of the situation but ignores it for now, and with Patrick's help he continues to suffer until Sandy brings a glass of water for the flowers, and in that moment he can't hold back anymore. He exploded, drinks all the water and dips away. Patrick tried to stop him only to suffer the same air until Sandy arrives and see what's left of them. She brings them the water and raises a toast for the new friendship. This episode shows Sandy's origin story and she's such a good character for the series. This is a classic, but you can say that about all the first season. The next is Bubble Sand, and I remember seeing this episode when I was in kindergarten and I really didn't like it. The whole idea of the episode is that SpongeBob built a bubble sand to blow bubbles. That's it basically. Patrick does join the fun, but with no luck SpongeBob showing the bubble blowing technique and created an awesome giraffe, which arrived at Squid House, who didn't like the idea from the start. SpongeBob does introduce him to the idea plus the technique, which he doesn't appreciate at all, and make them live, but he want to try it, however it costs money. And after a few attempts he finally does the technique and create the biggest bubble, which he brags about, and the episode ends until... Okay, now I like the episode more. Yes, it's a bit repetitive in certain places, but it does introduce for the first time the very special relationship that Squid and SpongeBob have, and that's pretty good. The next is Ripped Pants, where SpongeBob and Sandy chilling in the Goo Lagoon until Big Larry comes along and offers them to lift some weights, which they agree to. Sandy and Larry killing it, but SpongeBob not so much. He's trying to impress everybody, but for one moment he's using too much force and rips his pants in front of everyone. At first he's not happy, but when he realizes that everybody is laughing with him, he's happy with it. And later on this episode he continues to rip his pants to make everybody laugh, and it's going really good. But at some point the joke becomes really not funny, and when SpongeBob fakes his death is over. Without ideas, friends, or pants, he remains just one big loser. Immediately some more losers come to ask him what happened, so SpongeBob tells his mistakes in a song that again I wish I could play for you. The meaning of the song is to stay true to yourself, and you don't have to make other people happy on your account. This song is simply awesome. At the end, Sandy understands the meaning of the song and Larry asks him to sign his pants, not before he rips his underwear. Another classic episode, just not as good as I used to remember. Episode 5, Jellyfishing, the ultimate game of the series that starts with the two getting ready in the most savage way possible, only for them to suck at it. Squid really doesn't want to join them, so he bikes off just to be in the most Looney Tunes ass accident which crippled him. And this is technically the first episode that shows Squid with torture porn, but that's for later. The rest of the episode they continue to abuse him in his house and out in the jellyfish field, and I don't know why, this is among the funniest episodes we've seen so far. This is the first episode that made me laugh several times, including some joke at the start, but especially the last part when Squidward, despite his condition, starts to enjoy himself with the first performance of the best tuna in the series. Even though it didn't last long. The episode ends with the gang, especially Squidward, injured by the jellyfish, and even the big one comes back and shows Squid's face since the beginning of the episode. To my surprise, it's among the funniest episodes that we talked about, but we're too early to say that. And apparently, people hate this episode. Next, Plankton, where we're introduced to the successful singer, Plankton. The episode starts like every other workday, until he arrives and tries to steal a Krabby Patty, but with no luck or brain. I mean, why did he waste so much time? He promised that one of his other 26 plans is gonna work. Well, more 20 because he's already tried plan A, B, C, and D that appears in future episodes that I will talk about in the future. But right now, it's the end of plan E. Crabs tell everyone to be more careful next time, and the shift continues as usual until the end of it. When SpongeBob walks home, he bumps into Plankton that tried to deceive him, but SpongeBob is smart enough to see through his lies and continues home. But it's part of his plan. When SpongeBob falls asleep, he goes inside his head and takes over his brain with his college plan. The plan works smoothly and he succeeds with his mission. It looks like it's over, but SpongeBob managed to deceive him with his hunger to the Krabby Patty. Only hunger for now. So he gives up control only to fall for his own invention, leading to the end of the episode. And Plan F. The episode introduced Plankton for the first time and they did such a good job. It's nice to see the episodes getting better as we go through the season, even if we're just in the beginning. Episode 7, Naughty Nautical Neighbors. And this is for me is the perfect example of a Golden Age SpongeBob episode that has the perfect combination of nostalgia and extra content. SpongeBob and Patrick find a new way to drive Squid crazy, but this time he decided to be a little bit more creative and use the same game to decimate their friendship. But karma is the and he chokes on a fork. When Patrick sees him, he gives him a mouth-to-mouth and manages to save him, which make them friends. And some legendary joke later, a reverse situation happened and SpongeBob saved him, and it's only make it worse. So as a solution, Squid invite them both to his house to talk and drink soda. And after they finish it, Squid left them in his house to get some more. And when it's only them, they remember the same game that was in the beginning and forgive each other without any consequences.
I should just walk away right now. What a surprise. I invited them in, and I left them alone.
This episode was by far the funniest. The jokes were legendary, and I think people forgot how funny Patrick is in this episode. Episode 8, Boarding School. And this episode is special because I saw it with my little brother to see the differences in our reactions. It starts with SpongeBob getting ready for his boarding exam, and here we are introduced to Mrs. Puff, who really tired of SpongeBob. And after some support, he starts the test and fails. SpongeBob returns home and lies on his bed disappointed. and at that time he get a call to come to his closet, where we introduced to Patrick SquarePants. He suggests help by saying what to do from a distance, and when the time comes, SpongeBob is much calmer. But after this montage, SpongeBob guilt get the better of them and he fails. But now he's ready to work hard for the next time. It's just amazing that they made a series that two people of different kind of ages can enjoy. But for the episode itself, it was quite okay. It did make the both of us laugh out loud and introduced a very iconic character, but still. Episode 9, Pizza Delivery. I know it's a crowd favorite, but for me, this episode starts when they are about to go home, but some imbecile called the Krusty Krabs for pizza, and of course, they do it. So the two set up to go, but thanks to SpongeBob, he crushes them out of nowhere. The two try to reach the customers, so they are asking for help, facing hunger, and passing the time.
Is the pizza absolutely
Krusty Krab!
Iconic. But the moment that really sells this whole episode, it's when all of SpongeBob optimism and hard work goes to waste because of this customer that doesn't receive the pizza, and Squid of all people comes and stand up for SpongeBob. This moment shows the true connection of these two and why the show and the first 3 seasons are so iconic. The episode has iconic moments plus iconic memes, but other than those, for me, it's nothing too special. Episode 10, Home Sweet Pineapple. And this episode begins when these guys drink SpongeBob's entire house. Yeah. SpongeBob is surprised of how quickly he can lose his house, except for Sid, and say that he needs to go back to live with his parents. And Patrick came up with ideas to prevent this happening, but it's all ended up failing. A day later his parents came to pick him up and SpongeBob buried the seed that was left from the pineapple, and thanks to the power of plot, his house is back, much to Squid's delight. This episode was all over the place. One moment there's a building montage, after there's a party at Patrick's Stone, a lot of unrelated stuff happened that doesn't really affect anything. The episode wasn't really funny either, except for a few small moments. So far was the weakest episode. Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy, an all-time classic SpongeBob episode that introduces us for the first time to Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy. The episode starts when SpongeBob and Patrick watch the show of Mermaid Man and Okay, I'll just call them MB. The two really love the series, so they go out to play pretend with Squidward. And this whole part is really funny and the music really adds up to... Oh shit! Something I forgot to mention at the beginning is the music of this series. It's by far the best OST of any animated series, and the theme of MB really proves my point. Anyway, the two going to meet their heroes at their retirement home, and despite their look, it doesn't really matter because they want MB out of retirement, but they accidentally stress them out, so they get kicked out. But they don't give up and they keep coming back, and each time they don't succeed. But the last try they got fed up with their bullshit, so the two are going to come out of retirement just to take care of them. And after a remake of the start of the episode, they succeed and they are going to stay out of retirement. Without a doubt, the star of the episode is Mermaid Man. He's such a funny and likable character. But as much as I like the episode, it didn't really make me laugh out loud compared to the other episode, but it's still great. Pickles is next, and wow, one of the best well-known episodes of all time. And it starts like any day in the Krusty Krabs. SpongeBob shows off his cooking skills, Squidward goes down on the customers.
I'll have a Krabby Patty.
Daring today, aren't we?
Hey Squidward, shut the fuck up.
Until a special guy arrives with an even more special order.
I'll have a double triple Chungus Deluxe on a tit, 4x4, really Nick.
Jokes aside, Bubble Bass is considered the ultimate food critic and his intention is to go full Gordon Ramsay on his ass. SpongeBob is confident, but he forgot the pickles, but it's bigger than meets the eye because this mistake causes SpongeBob to lose all of his confidence and not only in cooking. So Mr. Krabs gives him a day off to relax, but the next day he didn't came back. So Krabs visits him with a normal walk and discovers what's happened and willing to help SpongeBob. And after a few days, he's ready. He's back to the Krusty Krabs, but Bubble Bass is also back and checks again, and he claims that he forgot the pickles again, only for SpongeBob to expose them in front of everyone, so he runs away. It is a certified classic. I was watching it and I was expecting all of the jokes. So yes, there are some good moments and the plot is by far the best. Next, hall monitor. And we go back to boarding school and Mrs. Puff chooses the new hall monitor. And of course, it's SpongeBob. He takes this job very seriously and he starts giving a speech and he doesn't stop until the day is over. He's upset that he did it again, so Mrs. Puff gives him the clothes to make him feel better.
What are the consequences of what I've just done?
In the city, he continues to behave like the Blues and does a lot of damage in the city, plus break into people's houses. He creates a name for himself, and while SpongeBob is talking to Patrick, he receives a newspaper that a madman is roaming free, so the two decided to catch him. him. SpongeBob goes out, and at the same time, Patrick discovers the true identity of the madman, but he doesn't realize that it's SpongeBob. The night's coming, and Patrick is left alone, and I completely understand the main potential this moment has. He sees SpongeBob from a distance and saying that the madman is after him. It takes a few runs to discover that he is the madman himself, and the police take him to prison forever, only for Mrs. Puff appears out of nowhere and accidentally takes the blame on herself, which lead to her to be in prison. The episode is currently the best one in my opinion, or at least one of the best. I swear the memes that came out of the series are so good. Episode 14, Jellyfish Gem, and I won't lie, this would probably be the lowest episode on the list if that wasn't in the episode. The episode starts in the jellyfish field, and since the last time SpongeBob has gotten a lot better at catching jellyfish, but the one he caught seems to like him, so he's a pet now. Squid doesn't understand the point of bringing a wild animal home, but SpongeBob proved him otherwise. They dance for 12 hours straight, but enough is enough and they need to go to sleep, only for the jellyfish to bring her friends at night. In the morning, SpongeBob wakes up and finds out his whole house has been destroyed, and when he tried to stop it, it's only make it worse, and Squid does an even worse job. So SpongeBob tried to take the music device, but it breaks. The jellyfish completely freaks out, and before they attack, Gary creates a melody that calms the jellyfish, and with that, they lead the jellyfish to the jellyfish field. Meanwhile, the melody continues to evolve, which by the way sounds really good, and at the end everyone got home. Apart of the two melodies, the episode was quite quick, no explanation. Sandy's rocket is up and SpongeBob came to visit Sandy. Sandy explained that she's planning to fly to the moon, and SpongeBob obviously wants to join, but after the previous incident that put his body count in the 100, she disagreed. But the episode can end now, so she eventually agreed. At night, SpongeBob tried to sleep until Patrick arrived with an anti-alien bottle, so they're going to spray it on the rocket. But Patrick is too distracted by the rocket itself and accidentally activates the rocket, and Sandy is not surprised at all. They managed to fly to the moon but missed it and returned back to the house. But the two think they are on the moon and the citizens, including Gary, are aliens, and they are going to collect them all. After they finish abusing the whole town, Sandy comes and tries to tell them what they did, but they don't listen to her. It got to the point where they think that one of them is an alien and Patrick commits. And when he's the only one left, he gets back on the rocket and flies to the moon alone. But he discovers what he did.
SpongeBob, we aliens would like a word with you!
And that's how the episode ends. I guess this is the first episode with an unfinished ending, which nice but doesn't really add much. There are a few good jokes and the plot is quite interesting, but this episode is simply mid. Another mid episode is Squeaky Boots. The episode starts with Pearl's birthday party, and now I realize this is the first time we see her in the whole show, and I have nothing to say about her, at least for now. But he does buy her those boots that she doesn't want for $2, and now he's stuck with them. So he decided to trick SpongeBob to take them because only good cooks can wear them. He's happy, but the noise pisses off Squid. Only him for now. The night comes and Krabs sleeps only to wake up to the same noise, and his attempts to stop it doesn't work, to say the least. The morning comes and he's tired from what happened, but when Krabs hears the boots, he freaks out and he does the only logical thing, break into SpongeBob's house at night and steal the boots. And everything seems to go back to the way it used to, except that SpongeBob is really upset, and it seems that his conscience is working for a change because now he's imagining the noise of the boots and a pretty scary montage that showed Krabs completely lost his sanity, but he ends the noise with the episode by eating the boots. Then he goes to an insane asylum that he really needs. The episode, like every other episode, have a good moments and a lot of main potential, and I really like the moment when Krab proceeds his madness, but the main idea of the episode is quite boring and the noise does get annoying. Next is Nature Pants, the holy memes of SpongeBob. The episode begins with SpongeBob getting tired of his normal life and wants to live in the wild like one of the jellyfish, only he finds out that it's a horrible idea. I like this episode because it really shows how much everyone really cares about him, especially Patrick, who even though was depressed the whole episode, as usual, was the star of the episode. This episode has a great message that you should always appreciate what you have, because only when you don't have it, you appreciate it. Opposite Day is up and he has one of the best start to an episode, only to The episode starts with Squid deciding to sell his house, but he knows that SpongeBob simply won't let him, so Squid says his opposite day in order to shut him up for the day. Only that he and Patrick take the game too seriously, which lead to him never being able to sell his house again. And that's the end. As I said, the start of the episode was really funny, but after the montage of the two doing opposite thing, I didn't laugh again. Until the last joke, that was the best in my opinion. This episode doesn't present any moral or even many memes. At the end of the day, it's just fine. Episode 19, Culture Shock. The Krusty Krabs is having a hard time, so Squid comes up with an idea of a talent show, but with the interest the show is telling to the whole town. After a little preparation, there is a cut to the night and the show goes on as usual, with Pearl and Gary that have a mediocre performance. But then Plankton pulls up, an Oscar-level singer. However, he tried to steal the Krabby Patty, but is not able to escape twice, and it's the end of Plan G. The whole place is not happy, so Squid shows his talent just for everyone to hate it. And when all seems lost, SpongeBob arrives at the last minute and the audience fall for him, which promised Squid another talent show. The episode is more focused on the performance of the character and does not show any more jokes other than those. And of course there is the legendary dancing Squid memes, but it's not enough for me. Fun. Need I say more? But seriously, this is one of the most classic episodes of the show. The episode begins with Plankton trying to steal a Krabby Patty in Plan H and failing, but this time SpongeBob sees the suffering of Plankton, so he decided to be his friends in one of the most, if not the most classic song in the whole show.
F is for friends who do stuff together.
But of course, in the end, Plankton lies and tried to steal a Krabby Patty. But during the episode, it seems that he turned a new page, and I must point out that Karen has a big role in him standing in the bad side, and the whole episode was Karen's idea, so no counting to the plans. But apart from all the nostalgia, meaning, and the legendary song, it's not funny. Muscle Bob Buff Pants is the 21 episode, which means we've reached the halfway point. SpongeBob realized in the episode that he is weak as f, so Sandy offers to train him, which doesn't go well. Out of option, he buys fake hands with muscle that is on the TV. But when SpongeBob brags about him, Sandy enters him into a competition so everyone can see his new muscles, which is going as expected. Everybody finds out the lie and the episode is over. I won't lie, this episode is more awkward than funny. From the moment that SpongeBob puts on the fake hands, it's just a matter of time until everybody finds out that he's lying, and the whole competition doesn't help. Yes, there are some funny moments, poor guy, but overall, this episode is very weak. Squidward the Unfriendly Ghost is up, and the episode begins with Squid finishing his masterpiece. And you know what? Squid does not know how to play an instrument, but he is a talented artist. Anyway, his creation got destroyed, and when the two see it, they think Squid is dead, and the real one is the spirit. And of course, he takes advantage of it. But after a while, SpongeBob realized that he need to let his spirit rest, but in the act of doing it, in a very special action, Squid tell the truth, and that's how the episode ends. Obviously, he doesn't believe it, so SpongeBob puts him in a bubble and flies into the sky. I did quite like the episode, and the plot is interesting, but the main problem is that I didn't remember this episode at all. I didn't even remember what I was laughing about. It's more of middle of the road. And by the way, this is the first episode which the Flying Dutchman appears. The more you know. Stop. Do you remember when I said we are halfway there? So this is also where I'm gonna stop the video. For those who don't know, this is my first video on the channel, and I don't want to upload a video that's too long, so if you wanna support a new channel and see the second part that's going to be uploaded next week, subscribe and see you there.